double. Oh, right on the button. This fellow's not going to last long, no, it's all over. And the referee even missed him. Oh, left hook's a good shot. He turns that one in well, Christie. There it is again now. He's really drilling him into it. Oh, beautiful right hand on the chin. Well, he's had the experience of a 6 rounds points win, the first one, but he's not going to allow it here by the look of it, Christie. He's wrong to get back in the corner, Rita. What a right hand, and that's it. And the last punch landed on the side of the head, and it looks all over. This surely is a formality of a count there with Fred Reed counted out.
So there you see the kind of power that Errol Christie can generate. I'm delighted to say that we have restored the vision line to Coventry, the Willenhall Social Club. So let us now rejoin, or try and join, our commentator, Reg Guttridge, who has with him the former world lightweight champion, Jim Watt. Reg, are you there?
Well, yes. No, we weren't running away, Dick. And by the way, he's the better-looking one of the two, Jim Watt, the world champion. Well, there's a lot of air of expectancy here, a very pro-Christie crowd. But you were a promoter. The first time you promoted, you saw Doug James, who's fighting Christie today. Really a close-up view, Jim. Give us a quick word on him.
Yeah, well, I paired Doug Jones with Cameron Lithgow that night up in Scotland, and it was a terrific fight. And Doug was well behind in points going into the last round when he turned the whole fight around and knocked Lithgow out in the last round. So I know just how dangerous James can be.
He's only a 24-hour substitute, let's make that clear, but he seems very confident in the dressing room. Do you think that he might have taken... on the other hand, he did have a fight later in the month, so he's in good shape. But do you think that would worry him coming in late like that?
Yeah, well, it could make him go two ways. Maybe he'll come out looking to bomb Christie early because he knows he can't go to the full rounds. Or then again, maybe he'll try go onto his bike early and come in later. It just depends what kind of fellow he is inside. Personally, I think he'll come out bombing.
Yeah, so do I. He's not the sort of fighter, as you say, in the fight game that gets on his bike very much, Doug James. He really is a hard nut. And they're just, as we're looking up now, they're getting him into the ring. So let's see now whether the atmosphere here in this very atmospheric place, I must say, down in the district of Coventry, as Willenhall Social Club. This is where Errol Christie actually was about to box as an amateur in the last ABA championships that he was in and didn't make the weight. He failed to make the weight here. And of course was ABA champion when he was 17 and had this most remarkable run of 11 championships, and he hasn't lost since he was 14. But as substitutes go, as they say in this game, Doug James is a hard nut. And his manager, Doug Bidwell, who looked after the former world champion, Alan Minter, said, I promise you, this fellow has come to fight because it's a big chance for him. So he needs to warm up now as they're bringing on Errol Christie and his blaring Eye of the Tiger music. He's almost like a world champion, isn't he? Instead of very much an up-and-comer, he gets tremendous atmosphere here in the Midlands. Won all his 8 fights. And Don Davis, who used to box and trains Christie in London in the Boxers Pub with Thomas à Becket, is leading Christie in. And he really does have that ring charisma. 20 years old recently. And giving away 5 years anyway to Doug James, the labourer from Swansea, who was also the Welsh champion. So we can have a look then at the career record of Errol Christie. 8 wins, 7 stopped. His last one was a points win in America, and then he won in 3 rounds, all within 4 days. But he's had the experience now at least going 6 rounds. And Doug James, 18 fights, won 12, 1 draw, and lost 5. But one of the wins, as Jim Watt was just saying, was over Cameron Lithgow, who boxed Errol Christie in the final of the ABA Championships at Wembley, and always claimed that he thought he won that contest. A hard nut Lithgow, and to go away from home and do it was a very creditable performance by Doug James. And Alan Minter, who's watching at home, Doug Bidwell tells me, he agrees. He said, I think that James is in with a good chance because he was due to fight at Minter's club on October 31st against Vince Guiney, so he was already in decent training anyway. At the weigh-in today, Doug Jones 11 stone 10 and a half, and Christie 11.9.
Gentlemen, please. Ladies and gentlemen, Bert McCarthy proudly presents the main event of the evening, an 8-round middleweight contest of 3 minutes each round. Between and introducing to you from Swansea, the middleweight champion of Wales, Doug James. And in this corner from Coventry, Errol Christie. At the weigh-in at 1 o'clock this afternoon, James scaled 11 stone 10 and a half pounds. Christie scaled 11 stone 11 pounds. Your officials for this contest, appointed by the British Boxing Board of Control, your referee, Mr. Paul Thomas of Derby, your timekeeper, Mr. Ken Davison of Derby, and your steward in charge, Mr. Arthur Mossling, Secretary of the Midlands Area Council. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to World of Sport viewers who have just joined us.
Actually, that weight was 11 stone 9 for Christie. I think maybe Nat Basso, the MC, just might quickly announce that.
Ladies and
Yes, he
gentlemen,
is.
correction, Christie scaled 11 stone 9 pounds.
Makes a big difference. The middleweight limit is 11 stone 6 pounds. And it is the afternoon, despite Nat Basso saying this evening. Well, I tell you, if it comes to looks, Doug James is looking the part. Allowed that little bit of extra protection around the chin. And don't forget that Christie's had 3 wins in the first round, scheduled for 8 rounds. And just spent a few weeks in Detroit, Christie, getting experience in the gymnasiums and winning 2 fights there under the top trainer Emmanuel Stewart, who looks after Tommy Hearns and Milton McCrory. Well, James is not going in his shell. Jim Watt did suggest he might come out trying to bomb early in the fight, because he knows probably as it goes along he may become tire quickly, I should say. A very loose puncher, isn't he, Christie? That's the technique that I enjoy. And right hand there. I thought that may drop him. There was a slight delay between hit with the punch and going on his knees. Really caught him on the side of the chin, and he's been told go to a neutral corner. He doesn't know where he is. And this looks like being another 1 round for Christie, and you could have fooled me with this fellow. It was a chopping down right-hand punch, perfect on the side of the jaw. Well, he's trying to fight back, James. I'll give him that. He said he came to fight, and you couldn't blame him for grabbing and jumping on the fellow's back to get out of trouble. He really digs hard with either hand, Christie. You can't nominate the punch, because I've seen him do it with the left hook and the right hand over the top of the other fellow's left lead, which I think he favours more than any. And there he is, he's showing it a bit and trying to land it again. He's done well to get over that punch, Jim Watt, hasn't he, really?
Yeah.
If it's only temporarily, perhaps.
Yeah, that was a terrific punch. James has been knocked out in 1 round before. It's possible he's the type of fighter who takes a round or so to warm up to a task. But that was a terrific punch. That would have hurt him at any stage in the fight.
Well, credit Christie with biding his time. I mean, that shows that the experience is already creeping in. He's certainly, although only 20, he's looking a lot more mature than he did. He's looking more like a fighter. Some of the puppy look has gone from him. Can't fight for the British Championship for another year yet, remember? And he's still got to keep winning, of course. Well, if he does nothing else in the fight, James, he's certainly been a brave fellow to take that punch. He just dropped, almost poleaxed. He could do with hearing that bell now. Give the seconds a chance to really get him on the stool and revive him a bit, James. Well, that goes without saying, of course, that Christie well won the opening round. Jim's first time you've seen Christie in the flesh.
Yeah, well, everything he does naturally. He's a fighter that can only improve with experience. You know, the punches just flow from him. He's always set for a punch. He's got lovely balance. I feel a bit sorry for James because I think his corner must have been hoping for a good round to get him into the fight, to build his confidence a little bit.
Let's have a look at that in slow motion then. And we're getting the back view there as it landed right on the side of the jaw. And he really was shocked and stunned all the way there. Christie looking all calm and collected, as though it's all during office hours what he's doing here. He really loves this game. As I say, has not been beaten since he was 14. Round two. And now we can see if James is going to have a go, as he did with Cameron Lithgow. He came back and won that in the last round. He lost to the British champion Mark Taylor in London and took 3 counts to that one. Really opening up now, Christie. As you say, Jim, he's so relaxed. You would thought that he was taught in America from the start. He can box a bit and bang a bit, which is what you need for a good prospect. He really is trying to chop James down with that right. It makes the opening with a left-hand punch. It hurts with that too. That's a stunner. Puffed around the left eye. It's quite understandable, Doug James. Ooh, power in that left jab. You might think when he drops his arms a bit, Christie, that he can get tagged, but he's got the natural reflex to get away. He really is great variety of punches, Jim Errol, isn't he? Anything.
Yeah, well, everything just falls into place for him. He doesn't even have to think about what he's doing. He does it so naturally. Unfortunately, James is the type of fighter, when the pace slows down, he's a bit more effective. But there's certainly no signs this early of Christie slowing down.
Well, James has taken enough right clips on the side of the chin to last him forever. He's certainly brought his heart with him, full credit for that. Big chance for James, remember, if he happened to get lucky here and defeat the hot prospect. You can imagine he'd get all kinds of offers. Oh, really is effective there, Christie, there's no doubt about it. He really has got a whole old head on young shoulders. Only 8 fights, you think he'd had 80. And I suppose boxing in top class as an amateur for so long, won the European Junior Championship. Well, he's looking a bit worn and battered in that corner there as Doug Bidwell's working there. Jim, what would a manager have to say? What would you say now in the corner to this fellow, apart from look out, here he comes?
Yeah, well, a very difficult job to try and keep James's enthusiasm going, because nothing is going right for him at all. The only chance for him is to fiddle through the first 4 rounds or so and hope the pace slows down a bit. But Christie looks in excellent physical shape. I don't think he will slow down. It's funny, the only person I can remember actually enjoying a boxing match is Muhammad Ali, but this fellow seems to enjoy himself too. He actually looks as though he's relishing the task.
Yes, he does, doesn't he? He's got that little bit of excitement and charisma about him. I think you enjoyed collecting the money afterwards, Jim. That was when you really enjoyed it.
Yeah, being Scottish.
Seconds out, round 3.
So the gum shields are popped back in round 3. Having a go back now, James. That's exactly what we wanted to see. Try and get Christie under pressure a bit. It's a really hot division at the moment, the middleweights, with Mark Taylor, the new champion. Tony Simpson just had a good win. Roy Gums, Jimmy Price, and now Errol Christie. He's laying into him now, and it looks to me that when he now applies the pressure, I think the referee, Paul Thomas from the Midlands, may have to step in here because he's a brave enough fellow. And I really do give him full credit for fighting back here, the Welsh champion. Doesn't hold inside Christie. You notice that he lets the other fellow do the mauling while he's picking a few spots. A bit low, that punch, but he didn't complain at all. When he stands square in front of Christie like that, Jones, he really is asking for that right hand on the chin. Any ideas that Christie's carrying this fellow? He's trying to knock him out nearly with every punch he throws. The left-hand jab, I haven't seen him use that since his amateur days. He's really making that work, Jim, the left-hand jab.
Yeah, but over and above that, he's knocking the sting out of James's punches. James's punches don't have any authority at all because he's too busy thinking about what's coming his way. It's just a credit to his courage that he's hanging on in there because 9 people out of 10 would have been looking for the floor, I think.
That certainly includes me. This really is the toughest game of all. And you hear them use the word courage in some other sports. I often have a wry smile. This is when you need it, when that bell goes and there's only you and the other guy. See that? He's not holding Christie, he's just protecting his chin. Well, that was a bit playful, but could do without that, really. I don't think James appreciated it. He's taken enough during working hours, let alone after time.
Well, I think if I had anything to do with James's corner, I think I would draw him out now because he's given everybody a show. Nothing at all is going right for him, and I can only see him taking punishment. And it's if you've tried all you can do and nothing is going right for you, then it's the time to get out. And I'd like to see maybe somebody take over. A fighter will never quit, but I'd like to see maybe somebody in James's corner maybe saying that'll do.
Let's have a look at the replay there now. So he's coming in trying to have a go, as you say. You got plenty of credit, James, for his gallantry, if nothing else. But perhaps it's a foolish bravery, we're not sure. But to be fair, the referee's going to stay on top of this, Paul Thomas. And he always looks relaxed. Looks as though he's in the gymnasium and picks his shots well.
Seconds out, round 4.
And there's a little nick over the eyelid there in Christie. He had that in his last fight in America. It's not serious, I don't think, and the cornerman Harry Burgess from London, a promoter, is working there with the coagulates. But if James has spotted it, that'll encourage him a little bit. Oh, he's really picking him off as he wants. I wouldn't dare saddle a young fighter like this as a comparison with Sugar Ray Leonard, but really there are at times when he produces stuff like the up-and-coming Leonard anyway.
Yeah, he's so flashy, and as I say, he has the American style, the relaxed shoulders swaying about from the waist. And James is the ideal opponent for Christie because he comes straight in without moving his head from side to side, and he's letting Christie tee off on him. I've never seen anybody as brave as James for a long time.
I'll tell you what, Jim, I think they've said in James's corner, go out and have a go this round, otherwise we'll pull you out. But there's no need for that. He stopped it before he hit the floor. The left hook was the final punch. He had his fling, James. He's certainly going to get a handshake from me, the loser. But what a good winner that was. He turned it on when the other man was throwing all the leather at him. Typical championship stuff. Well, that's a little bit unfair. Easy. I don't like to hear that.
Yeah, well, I get the impression now that in the corner at the end of the last round, Doug Bidwell has said, this is your last round, go out and do the best you can. This is your last round, see if you can swing a knockout from somewhere. And that's what he did, but just the same as the rest of the fight, nothing went right for him. They got caught with some beautiful punches there, all over. Yeah, well, right from the start of the fight, nothing went right for James at all. It was Christie all the way. It was a good match, but beforehand I thought it would have been a very good fight because I'd seen James box before. I knew how brave he was and how aggressive he was, but never to be.
Ladies and gentlemen, in 1 minute of the 4th round, the referee has stopped the contest. James was in no position to defend himself. Christie
gives him a firm handshake. Errol, you certainly fought a brave fellow in there tonight. He tried to have a go at you in the last round and then you nailed him. What do you think of that?
Well, I took my time in the first round. I was working off the jab. I was doing everything else to me. Picking my punches. I let them tell towards the end. This time I tried to go longer rounds than I've done before. And I hope to show the people who are watching me that I can be your champion. And I want to be.
I must say, only 3 weeks and 2 fights in America. There was a great deal of maturity showing in you, I thought there, Errol. Did you feel that much better?
I didn't feel the pace at all. I picked up an injury in America, which has now come out again. And I think I should be having a rest till it heals up properly.